in anything I won, whether I won the USA, the Olympia myself, whatever. What does that have to do with my opinion on your physique?
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with Bob Cicherillo. Now if you guys thought that Nick Walker saying who the hell is Bob Cicherillo or a more explicit word, that was a brutal comment by Nick, then listen to Bob's comeback. And that is from today, from his most recent YouTube video. And I told you guys this response was imminent. We all knew it. But didn't Bob just took it to a whole different level by saying he's gonna be announcing Nick Walker and his 8th place at this year's Miss Olympia.
I'm the guy that's going to be announcing you in 8th place at the Olympia. Okay? So that's who I am.
And the thing is, it didn't stop there. He had an answer to Nick Walker, saying that Bob only won USAs in his entire bodybuilding career. And in return, Bob said that Nick would not have even turned pro back in the 80s or the 90s.
There's physiques back then. You're lucky you're around now and not back then, if you want to bring up the USA, because you never would have even been a pro. You never would have sniffed being a pro back in the 80s or 90s, because there was guys back then like the Mendenhalls and the Edgar Fletchers.
So I have got to say this got a bit more personal here. And there is nothing Bob or any other commentator has to lose in this kind of situation. It's like a win-win situation for all these guys. Because let's say if Nick Walker comes back and he shocks the entire bodybuilding world, they're just gonna say they were wrong. But in the worst case scenario, where Nick fails to deliver, it is gonna be absolutely disastrous for Nick Walker because of all the backlash that he's gonna get throughout the social media platforms. Because the thing is, the man has been very vocal about this comeback of his, especially in the last couple of weeks or so. Now, in an imaginary scenario where all the top 3 guys, Hadi Chopin, Derek and Samson Dauda, they come at their 100% at this upcoming Miss Olympia, can Nick Walker win the Olympia in that scenario? Can he even make top 3? We all know the answer to that. And even Nick Walker himself admitted in that case, Samson Dauda is gonna win. So what do you guys think? Did Nick Walker have the right to fight back at Bob? Or did Bob just took it way too far? Because the trash talk and talking smack, that's a different thing. But getting personal, that just isn't the way to go.
Missed the last 2 Olympias for various reasons. That said, we don't have to delve into that. You have to qualify for the Olympia. That's where your efforts should be because, again, it's not a guarantee, okay? You're not a guarantee to qualify for this next Olympia because you've got your work cut out for you.
So Hostile just dropped some Sherpa-lined zip-up hoodies and Force hooded jackets. So do check them out and use the code FAZI10 to get 10% extra discount. Next up, we have an update from Martin-Fitzwater. Now it's go time for Martin, as this marks 10 weeks out of the first ever Pittsburgh Pro, which is gonna be the first show for Nick Walker and Martin for this year, and that is happening in May. So the most hardcore training duo in the open bodybuilding right now, Martin and Brett, they are going after it every single day. So this isn't gonna be the same Martin that we saw at the Olympia last year or at Prague Pro. The guy loves to compete so much that he would not have even skipped this year's Arnold if that was the right call. But the thing is, he needed rest to recover, and more importantly, he needed more size. So we are 10 weeks out from this year's Pittsburgh Pro, but this battle between Martin and Nick Walker, that is turning out to be one of the most exciting battles of this upcoming year. So Nick Walker barely won the New York Pro last year, and that was also against Martin. And at this point, we just cannot say how much Nick Walker has improved since the New York Pro last year, because he did not compete afterwards. But we can almost guarantee that Martin has made some great improvements, as he did 2 shows afterwards. Now Martin has packed on some solid size since the New York Pro last year. But that being said, Martin and Stefan, they won't be playing the size game, especially against Nick. That isn't Martin's strength. He is so complete and so muscular, and the man is so densely packed for his frame. Plus, he has top tier aesthetics, and that small midsection. The guys were able to control their stomach all the time. We just saw at this year's Arnold, they are being rewarded more, especially in this era. And that is where Martin is gonna expose a guy like Nick Walker to all the brutal statements that Nick Walker has made, especially the ones where he said it's gonna be easy for him to beat a guy like Martin, the 4th best bodybuilder in the world. Martin has yet to respond to all those statements. But it kind of seems like he's gonna do that on the stage in 10 weeks' time. Next up, we have the off-season physique update from Ramon Dino. So he weighs 270 pounds right now during the off-season, and him being close to single-digit body fat, even during the peak of his off-season, and weighing 40 pounds above that weight cap, that is the real problem. He has clearly outgrown the classic physique division, and once again, he's gonna have to suck down super hot to make that weight cutoff before this year's Miss Olympia. And once again, he's gonna be losing muscle to do that. Now, if Ramon did not fall off the track last year, he would have been considered the favorite to win the Olympia this year. And don't get me wrong, the man still is one of the favorites to win the Olympia. He's of course one of the title contenders still. He just had one bad year, and that is why he lost his stocks. And he surely isn't winning the Olympia, unless he works on his posing and presentation. So we saw him training with Derek Lunsford before this year's Arnold, and he was logged in and looking amazing for the offseason. And this is for the very first time since 2022 that Ramon is doing just one show in the whole year, and that is the Olympia, because he knows what's at stake here. Now the thing is, Ramon's density, that was kind of missing last year for whatever reason throughout 2024, but the kind of density that we saw from him back at the Olympia 2023, that is something that needs to come back. So a much rested body this time, that has a greater chance of peaking perfectly for this upcoming Miss Olympia, unlike last year. And now that the IFBB is looking for a new face for classic physique, a new standard, this is the right time. This is the year for Ramon Dino to bring 100%. Next up, we have an update from Budesheim. So the man is getting ready for this season ahead, and the goal is to be even hotter and grainier than last year. So the question right now is that gonna be even possible, considering the kind of looks that Tim brought to the stage last year? They were some of the hottest and some of the most conditioned looks of his career, and he did got rewarded for that. He got his career's best placing. But Tim, we all know, has such a major flaw in his physique, which is gonna be just so hard to overcome. He doesn't have a pronounced V-taper, and he loses so much ground right from the beginning in those front shots, the front double biceps and the front lat spread. Now Tim has been searching for his first pro win for so many years now, and the way it looks like, it is gonna get more challenging for so many of these guys, including Tim, to get a pro win and qualify for Miss Olympia. So it is gonna come down to who shows up for some of these shows, like for instance the shows that are happening after Cali Pro. So last year Tim started with the Neo Pro, and he did not get high placings in any of those earlier shows because the competition was just way too good for him. But let's wait and see what kind of a package he brings this time around.
Look at the fat bears, dude.
Skinny motherfucker.
You're a fat bear.
Hibernating.
This is why Alicia's calling me skinny, because you're fat.
Look at you.
What happened,
I
bro?
rocked athlete.
Look at this.
Next up, we have an update from Urs Kalecinski. So just like most of us, Chris Bumstead also thought that finally he's gonna get Urs off guard. Because as far as I can remember, there hasn't been a time when Urs was out of shape, as he was doing both the Arnolds as well as the Olympia, plus a number of other shows as well, every single year. So he always stayed very lean throughout the year, and he never really had a proper off-season. So this is his first time going through a proper off-season, and looking at that face of Urs, you would think that he will probably be a little fat right about now. But no, that isn't the case. He lifted his shirt, and even Cbum was impressed on what he saw.
Let's see. Okay, alright. Okay. Just hold it all in the face.
Yeah, same as you.
Yeah, I'm skinny and fat face. I got nothing.
So people have been talking about Mike Sommerfeld all this time, when Urs Kalecinski is probably the closest one to Chris Bumstead in terms of the structure and the aesthetics. And the most important thing is that he chose to skip this year's Arnold and focus on peaking for just one show, the Olympia, later this year. So we expect to see him at his all-time best. So the way Urs was able to make all those improvements, especially in his back, from the Arnold to the Olympia last year, that made us all believe that he can in fact bring up those lagging body parts. And this is the year when we are probably gonna see the biggest jump in Urs's physique. And he's gonna be right up there, fighting for that Mr. Olympia title in October. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.